Now, many of you are going to have people call you about your product. We call this incoming calls. They call you. Now, there's a couple things I want you to do when anyone calls asking you questions about your product. Now, let's just first of all say, when someone calls with interest, our goal is to make sure we turn that voice, which is what we hear on the phone, into a personal meeting. You see, your goal is to say, I cannot close a transaction on the phone, but what I can do is make sure that I end up meeting them. So whenever you get one of these calls, an inquiry call, always be prepared and make sure you know what they're calling about. Clear your mind before answering one of these calls. Now, here's another telephone technique. Get your company, everyone involved in answering the phone, to answer on the third ring. Now, don't ask me why. I'll just tell you that if you let it ring 10 or 12 times, now that person calling, inquiring about your product has a defense built up. They're mad that you're not courteous enough. If you answer it too soon, first ring, it's like you're not having any business, and so maybe I shouldn't be calling either. So the ideal ring is the third ring. Also, on an incoming call, you can receive these at home. You could receive them on your cell phone, so you always have to be prepared. In fact, here's a couple things I'd like you to make a note of. Always have pen and paper ready wherever you could receive an incoming call. At my home, I always had a pad of paper and a pen next to every phone, because you never knew if all of a sudden a qualified decision maker is calling you, and if you don't make notes, you won't remember a lot that you'll need as you move into the live presentation. Here's a technique I'd like you to also try. If someone calls you, and let me just kind of make this up now, I answer the phone and it goes like this. Mr. Hopkins, I was referred to you by a client and I wanted to ask you some questions. Well, right away, my first goal is I want to get your name. So I will say to them, well, yes, again, who referred you to me? I'll have them repeat that. And then they might say to me, I just want to get some information from you. And I will say, well, let me quickly place you on hold while I get all the information you'll need. Now, my goal is to put them on hold primarily for one reason. If I put you on hold, I have in essence gained control by asking you to do what I want you to do. But I'm not doing it in a pushy way. I'm making it the benefit of me putting you on hold so I can get all the information. A major reason we put them on hold is to not only gain control, but to have the time to get your contact management ready, also to know that you have a pen available, that you're going to be making notes. But please don't forget this. Never leave anyone on hold longer than 17 seconds. You see, if you do, they get upset. That's a little rule of thumb I always lived by. Also, there's a goal when you have someone calling you. Your goal is to get their name. Your goal is to get the follow-up information. So please try this. When you come off of hold, very nicely say, thank you for waiting. Again, my name is Tom. Now, if they don't know your name, you'd say, again, my name is Tom. If you answer the phone with that, if they know who you are, you'd say, thank you for waiting. Now, again, may I ask who's calling me, please? Because, see, when they call, they didn't give you their name. They didn't say who they were, but you must get their name. So the nicest way is, thank you for waiting. May I ask who's calling, please? This is what you say when you come off of hold. And again, no longer than 17 seconds. Here's another goal you have. Never give out too much information. You see, your goal is to meet them. I've watched when I was in management, I've had a salesperson answer the phone and they'd call inquiring about an ad in the paper. And I'd sit there and listen while this salesperson told them everything, almost like reading it off of the sheets to tell them everything. See, if they find out everything they need to know, there's no reason for you to meet them. So your mind has to work like this. I want to, first of all, get control by putting them on hold. Secondly, get their name when I come off of hold. Third, I want to make sure I make notes so that I know what we're talking about. And then my goal is to create curiosity where I become a major part of this equation. They must meet me. Now, if that doesn't work, oftentimes they'll say, we really want to just get information. We don't want to meet anybody right now. Make sure you get permission to mail them something to keep in touch. Like say, for example, this woman who had just called says, you know, Mr. Hopkins, I know your name and I've given you mine, but I don't want to set up an appointment with you. I would say, well, Mrs. Johnson, can I just keep in touch with you to serve you in the future? Well, you can. In fact, I'd like you to send you some information. What is your address? Now, if I get her address, that gives me a chance, first of all, to send her a thank you note for calling. After you get an address, it's so easy to simply say, by the way, could I also just have your number so that if something exciting comes up you should know about, I can give you a quick call. It's amazing once you get the name, once you get the address, the phone number comes quite easy. We covered a lot in this topic, and I so hope you'll review it. I so hope you'll learn the phraseology that's in the book and apply it. If you meet more people thanks to the telephone, that means nothing but more profits to you and your company. Don't you agree?